Well, we got to get in. I mean, this part here is on YouTube, so there's a lot of censorable topics that,
Right.
bloody, I want to get into. I mean, big time.
We'll
Uh,
last 2 minutes.
and so when we talk about paying taxes, we're all taught that you've got federal and state income taxes, and I know those were initiated mainly to fund some of the wars, and that it wasn't there before. But what if you just stop paying? um, doesn't the federal government like take stuff?
Um,
And
Only if you're a federal employee. Are you a federal employee?
no.
Then you don't have to pay taxes. It's in their code. Taxes are voluntary. You do not have to pay taxes,
Wow.
period. And they don't go for, fixing streets and all that different stuff. The everyday things that you buy are being taxed. That's what goes for fixing of the infrastructure and everything else.
And
So
Dr.
The income tax is a total farce just to fill their pockets.
I wanted to add to that the reason why I took this movement so seriously is because if the money that I was paying taxes into the system were to go to social welfare, were to go to support health being taught in schools, health being taught to different communities, for our roads, our everything infrastructure, then of course I'd do my part. And this is every single person I talk to is now questioning paying taxes because they're going, wait a second, the money that I'm paying is not really going to the things that I thought they were going to. And now they're actually flipping this power struggle on saying that you have to get whatever it is for travel. We can't say certain words on here, but the main reason I went sovereign is because I wanted jurisdiction over my own temple and to say, you can't tell me what to put in, on, or around my body because I own my own body and God is the only person that owns me.
I love the term that you just said. You get sovereign.
Mhm.
So I
Right.
thought that we had that sovereign ability where, I mean, I was raised that we had rights that couldn't be separated, inalienable rights. They had the right to, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, that those were guaranteed. And the fact that last year my rights have been taken away,
Yeah,
that's
and
ridiculous.
they've been dwindling ever since. They started with the birth certificates. The birth certificate is a bond. That's when they make you a dead entity. They make you a corporation. So you are now an American state citizen. You belong to the de facto government, and they can treat you however they want, as you can see by what's going on. But as you renounce that and get out of their system, that's the sea jurisdiction. That's maritime. Okay, it's run by the Pope and the Queen. The land jurisdiction is the live men and women that are on the soil. And you have to change they call it a political status. All you're doing is you're denouncing your right to be a U.S. citizen. U.S. citizens have no rights. The constitutions are contracts, okay, to keep the corporations in check. But they just want to throw them away. You've heard Biden before saying, it's just the Constitution is just another piece of paper. Okay, yeah, it is when you want to just rule over the people. And they consider us slaves because we are a corporation and they treat us accordingly.
So
But
now,
as a man and woman, they can't do that.
now, Dennis, I've heard that before, that that when you're born, the birth certificate, like it almost indentures you to the corporation.
Right.
How, I mean, this isn't one of the questions. I know we're going to get into this, but Diane, I know that you actually have a card that says you are a sovereign human, even though that I thought everybody was.
Yeah,
That
and I'll share this with
that literally we have certain rights that can't be separated from us.
Right.
And
Well, exactly. Yeah. All of the constitutional rights belong to Americans, American nationals. U.S. citizens have no constitutional rights because they're in the wrong jurisdiction. They're in the sea jurisdiction. They're British territorial subjects. Even though
wow.
they were born here, because of their birth certificate, they were placed there without their knowledge. It's all fraud, and fraud vitiates everything. And we're trying to get people to understand that. Okay. And as things go on and things change, yes, some people finally, the light bulb goes on. And they say, wow, I've been looking at this all wrong. And they say, how do I get started on this? And then they're excited and they just keep going. And that's what we have to do, is wake people up to, try and inform them everything's going to be okay, but this is what we have to do. And if we
Okay.
don't, it's going to keep going like it's going and get worse.
So for anybody that's looking at episode 6, which is this one first, okay, understand when they're talking about maritime and land and soil, when you look at Perry Mason, okay, that's what I grew up with. Okay, so now there's got to be, okay, so my mom used to watch it all the time. The low wall in the front, the raised diocese, the prosecution on one side, defense on the other. That's the maritime jurisdiction, and that's what our courts, our false courts, are based in. Okay, and where the founders of the Constitution were part of the land and soil.
Correct.
Okay, and so that is of a different jurisdiction.
Right.
And that is the basis of changing your status to an American national.
Correct. To get in the right jurisdiction. That's all you're doing. You're changing out of the maritime onto the land and soil, where you become an American national.
God, Diane, the way that you put understand as of what was your term?
You mean as far as understand versus understand?
Understand.
The Constitution of the United States of America. That's it. I don't say the word understand anymore, because when we're little kids, we get into this system, and we're indoctrinated from the time that we go to public school, where they indoctrinate you to understand under a teacher, preacher, who is furthering to anchor these belief systems. From a very young age, we have given our power away. We look up at the world and we're so little, and we see all of these people above us where we understand, and we tend to pedestalize at a very young age because we're so small, we don't understand anything any better. So we have, from a very young age, given our power away to authority and have not questioned any of it. And that is the biggest problem. So anybody, as crazy as some theories are out there in the world, like the flat earth or whatever, all these, theories that are out there, I commend people for thinking outside the box. I don't whiplash anybody for thinking outside of what we've been taught, because it's an exercise, it's an exorcism of these belief systems that have been placed into us from a very young age, from the time our last name is capitalized or our first name on our birth certificate. And if we don't think that the future is in the hands of our children, who are being continually indoctrinated, and I wanted to say something right now, at this very moment, this very second, what's happening is that there is a war on our children and our future. And what's happening,